Okay, today we're going to learn how to put together a bassoon, how to crow a reed, how to make an embouchure for the bassoon, how to hold it, and how to make your first note. So before we do anything, we want to take our reed and take a canister of warm water and soak the reed in that while we're putting it together. Now mine doesn't fit the reed perfectly, so I'm just going to turn it a couple times, but you want this to be soaking while you're putting it together. So we're going to let that sit there. The next thing we want to do is take our seat strap and put it under our legs. You want it near the front of your seat, and you also want the leathery side to be up. It just sticks better to the chair that way, if that's what you have. Some also have a cup on the bottom. Mine just has a little hook for the wire, and that can be adjusted later on. So we're just going to have that sitting there, so we're good. Okay, so to put the instrument together, the first joint you want to grab is the boot joint, which is the bottom joint. It's got two openings at the top. That's how you know which one it is. We're going to take the wing joint, which is the smaller of the two middle joints, and it also has a concave side as well. So you want to attach that into the smaller hole of the boot joint, holding it where there are no keys to not hurt them. We're going to slide that in there, and we want to line it up so that the concave side lines up with the other opening in the boot joint, like so. At this point, and we also want to make sure the bridge keys are lined up. At this point, we can set it on the ground and make it a little easier for ourselves. And then we can grab the long joint, or the bass joint, which is the other middle of the two joints. I'm going to take the smaller side of that and put it into the boot joint. And we're going to line this up so that it can attach to the wing joint at the top. As you see, I have a little lock here that I can put in. Some of these have snaps that go in. Either way, ideally you want the thumb keys to line up and be, parallel with each other on that side. So once we have that, we can take our bell and attach this to the long joint, lining up the bridge keys so that they work. There we go. And again, holding it at places where there are no keys so that we do not accidentally bend the keys. At this point, we can take the bocal, which is this, and we can hold it at the curved part so that we don't bend this side, because that's very important. We can just gently twist this on to the top of the wing joint, pretty much so that you cannot see the cork, so you want it pretty far in there. And we also want to line up the little hole on the bocal with the whisper key pad from the wing joint. So we can also adjust this later, but right now just to make sure that it's somewhat covering the hole and facing the right way. So once we have all that, we can now take our instrument, lay it down, and attach it to our seat strap. And this is where we can kind of adjust and make sure it's the right height for us. Right now it looks pretty good for me. So while we're here, I'm just gonna talk about how we hold the instrument. Your main points of pressure for the instrument are going to be your right thigh, right here, and your left hand at the bottom knuckle of your index finger, so right where I'm holding it there. You're gonna make a C shape with your hands, take your three middle fingers of your left hand and cover the three tone holes on the front. Have your pinky key just hang out between the E flat and the C sharp key right there. And then your left hand thumb is going to hang out on the whisper key, ideally, or primarily, I would say. And then just be able to hop over to these other keys as well if needed. But primarily it's going to stay on the whisper key to work that. The right hand is also going to make a C shape with the three middle fingers covering two tone holes, and then one key that also covers a tone hole. Pinky key is going to hang out at these three keys down at the bottom. And then your right hand thumb is going to hang out on the pancake key, but also be able to move to the three other keys down here. So it's going to look something like this, which is your general holding position. All right. So now that we have all that, we can talk about the reed. You can all the excess water out first. So the first thing we want to do with the reed is to crow it, and to do that we're going to put our lips on the wire, so to avoid actually pressing down on the blades of the reed. And we're going to blow, and what we hear from our blowing is going to tell us pretty much the condition of this reed. So what we want to hear is a lot of that raspy note sound. We want to hear a lot of different pitches in there. That tells us that our low notes are going to sound well. We're going to do the embouchure on the reed. We do want a rounded face, just like we do for the oboe, but it's going to be much more relaxed. Throat's going to be open, soft palate lifted, lips relaxed, jaw dropped, but not necessarily collapsed. So you want it to sound a little more like that, but you do want everything open. Another thing we want to be careful of is when we're attaching the reed to the vocal, we want to take the top wire, the one that is closer to the tip of the reed, and put that on top on the vocal. And especially for the bassoon, such a low woodwind instrument, you're going to want to use a lot of warm air, especially for the low notes. For the low notes, you want to use something like a syllable like thu or tu, or o or ah, something that makes your jaw drop. So ideally, when playing, and we always want to line it up. This is when you adjust the seat strap. Line it up so that you can bring the instrument to your face and not bring yourself to the instrument. That feels pretty good. So it should sound something like this. Yeah, especially for those low notes, it's all about opening up a little bit more, relaxing your mouth a little bit more, dropping your jaw a little bit more. And that is how you play the bassoon.